first of all, I don't like to say anything negative about Donald Cerrone because he's probably one of the first fighters I ever watched, and he's the guy who I've always respected so much because he's had so many fights within the UFC. He's always been like anytime, anywhere, any place, all that, and just all round, he's just an all-star bloke. He fought Alex Moreno, and oh man, it was hard to watch for me because it was right up until the end where I was just like, nah, I think it was after. I think the moment I felt like, I remember watching that, and I went to myself, oh no, when as soon as the bell rang and they touched gloves, Alex straight away went in for that takedown, and he threw him right against the cage, and then it was just all these, just landing all these strikes. Now Donald, I'm not saying he was bad, but if you compare him to what he was a couple years back, there's a big decline. There's a massive decline because Donald hasn't won since May 2019. Since then, I think he's had 5 losses.
5 losses officially, but
Yeah.
really it's 6. The Nico Price loss got overturned. I believe it was marijuana.
Okay.
Officially it's 6. Yeah. Unfortunately. Look, it's sad because it's not like he didn't fight the best of the best. Okay? The one thing was to check if he was legit was the fight against Alex Morono. Now, Morono, he's an ex-LFA welterweight champion. But in terms of experience in the UFC, not the highest caliber fighters has he fought against, right? Until he's fought Cowboy. He was able to take Cowboy out in the first round, dominated that entire fight. Cowboy just did not look the same. He just looked so hesitant, maybe patient, but bordering hesitance. He was mainly just absorbing blows and blocking them. He wasn't so much attacking. And I'm not too sure if that same fire is still there. He is, after the fight, said, look, there's a difference between how I feel inside and how I'm performing, and I don't know where that's at. If he does get another fight in the future, which I question if that's going to be a thing, I think he sees a sports psychologist.
Yeah.
I think he should see a sports psychologist because there's a lot of good stuff coming from that. I think someone that comes to mind is Anthony Pettis. Although he lost his PFL debut, he said that helped him a huge amount. I just think that he could really benefit from something like that in terms of sports psychology, because I feel like Cerrone's mental toughness is up there, right? But there seems to be a difference between how he is in the gym and how he is in the octagon. And I think that in order to flesh out, see why that is and actually change that, I think he needs to see a sports psychologist in order to change that.
Yeah.
That being said, what kind of opponents has he been thrown?
Yeah.
Tony? Arguably the Tony fight, he kind of lost it himself just because he blew his nose and it just blew his eye socket up and that you can't see out of the eye, so it becomes a doctor stoppage. Lost to Pettis, lost to Connor,
Lost to Gaethje.
Yeah. Now he's lost to Morona and he lost to Nico Price. Look, he's been thrown the best of the fucking best out there, right? It's no shame. Even Morono, ex-LFA welterweight champion, you can't take that away from him. It's just it's more that in that first round we didn't see much of the old Cowboy, and I get that's what you're talking about. You didn't see an old Cowboy. You saw an old Cowboy that wasn't angry or excited or hungry.
Yeah.
He didn't look passionate. He just looked quiet.
Yeah. Arguably, he was his best when he fought Mike Perry and Alex Hernandez.
I thought the Hernandez was a big turn in what he looked like.
That was when everyone's like, oh, this is a new Cowboy, because I believe it was that fight where... No, maybe it was the one before, when his son Danger was just born.
I think it was the Hernandez fight, because Hernandez was also making it personal and trash talking and being quite aggressive with Cowboy, and Cowboy was like, hey, I'm going to fuck him up. And that's what he did, right? that's just the issue with some of these fights sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
He's not over though. I believe Donald says he wants one more fight. He
I
said,
don't know if he'll get that
yeah, I
though.
don't think he'll get it. I think they might deny it for him. But if he gets the fight, whoever it is, God hope he wins. And then he's like, okay, hanging up the cowboy hat now, and then he can go live his life on his ranch and do all those awesome things that he does. So,
It's just sucks though, because like,
because you don't want to see him lose. I don't want to see him keep losing, and then because if you think about it, he's got 36 wins, 16 losses. I don't want to see that loss thing go up. I want him to be remembered as the guy who fucking was the badass who could take it any time anyway, not the much older gentleman in the thing. He just keeps getting beaten up. You know?
I think he's just getting beaten up, and he's almost becoming a gatekeeper
Yeah.
for the lightweight and the welterweight division. It's kind of just, well, how good is he against Donald Cerrone? And that's the marker. That's the satisfactory level to see how well he does. And it's a shame because, you know, it wasn't that long ago that people were saying this is the new Cerrone.
Yeah.
You know, this is the new guy. This is the guy that's angry. Look at him. He looks amazing. And I think that some of his losses have just been so devastating that perhaps it's made someone like Cerrone, who gets very nervous, very significantly very anxious and nervous before fights every time, maybe even more nervous. That's the thing. Look, he was getting dominated in the clinch. He was getting dominated on the feet. I mean, Morono connected with twice as many strikes, which means Cerrone's absorbing twice as many strikes as he is. You know, his opponent is absorbing. You know, and that's significant because the first round wasn't even over yet, and Cerrone had only connected with maybe 18 shots. Even in the clinch, he only threw one strike. Only connected with one strike. It's a shame with Cerrone because, look, he's been around for so long prior to the UFC as well. It's a fucking shame. I wish he just went out on a win and then he said, and that's what would be great for Cerrone, someone like Cerrone. But props to Morono, did very, very well. He was the underdog actually. In terms of the betting odds. And Cerrone was number 15 in the lightweight rankings, I believe. So was it lightweight? No, I think that was a welterweight fight, actually. To be honest. Which is weird because Cerrone actually had said, and he'd also talked to Chael Sonnen and said, look, I'm so motivated, I'm going to do one more run for the title at 155. And that's what sucks. Because now it looks like that won't actually come to fruition, you know?